The kids playing make-believe in Seattle's autonomous zone just got splashed in the face with some cold water for a pretty harsh wake-up call. The other day we heard that there were 2 shootings. One person died. I don't know what the update is on the other person, but they were reported to have life-threatening injuries and were in critical condition. A video is now surfaced after being posted by CHAZ Simone. You may know him because this is the guy they were calling the warlord. Now, to give him some credit, apparently he gave an interview where he actually said some non-super far left things. However, he tweeted this: medics refused to help, even after people in the chop begged. They let our bro bleed out for 30 minutes till he died. F politics, F your corrupt system. What did you think was going to happen? You idiots. You're running around with guns? Go watch Fight Club. What did you think was going to happen? You think these people are going to come in to your autonomous zone where there's no police, where you've taken over the department, they can't get in, you have armed ideological guards, and somebody just got shot and killed, and you say, I want you coming inside now. They're going to be like, no. And guess what happens? Your bro's going to bleed out. I'm sorry, man. I don't like that these people lost this guy lost his life. This is horrifying, man. But these kids didn't realize that the stupid game they were playing was for keeps. And it's only getting worse. The wake-up call to a lot of these kids is starting to happen. In Atlanta, near the Wendy's, a young woman took a shot through the leg because these people don't know what they're doing. And there's nothing that makes me angrier than people who do not respect the real danger of this world. Perhaps it's because, as you know, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. But for the past decade, I have covered civil unrest. And I would consider it as like low-level conflict and crisis. The reason I say low-level is I definitely don't want to make the claim that I'm a war reporter or anything like that. You know, there are some legit journalists who have gone into some really insane areas, active gunfire with actual combatants. No, I've done civil unrest, right? I was in Egypt during the revolution. I was in Venezuela. So I've been in very dangerous places. But this is all more so the preliminary steps that lead to things that could be a civil war. But you know, for the most part, the closest I think I've ever been was Ukraine at the start of their separatist kind of movement. But I've been in, I think, you know, for me, what helped me in that career, because for the most part, I don't do that anymore, as you know. I now just, you know, basically complain on the internet, as it were. But I grew up in Chirac, man. Not the worst part of Chicago, but on the south side where it was fairly dangerous. A lot of gang activity, and a lot of people died. Drugs, guns. I know exactly what this video is. These kids, they don't know what they're doing, man. They are children of privilege. And I mean it. I love that word, privilege, right? I don't know a whole lot about CHAZ Simone, but I heard he's privileged. I don't know, and I mean wealth, okay? I'm not talking about race. I don't know his history or whatever, but I gotta say, man, from where I grew up and what I see, this video, you know, there's like a twisted laugh of just like the absurdity and the ignorance and the hubris of these people. In this video, it's just some ambulances. They're just chilling. They're not going to come in. Let me tell you, man, I talked about this before. I think even a couple days ago. When you call 911 and you say somebody got shot, the police have to secure the area. Now, I suppose the EMTs and the fire service, firefighters, because they do ambulance assist, could come out, but they won't. I grew up in a household, my dad was a firefighter. My general understanding is there were a bunch of stories I heard where they'd pull up, some gangbangers shot on the ground, and they'd say, please save him, come here. And they'd, nope, we're not getting out. We will not exit the vehicle. We don't know what you want. We don't know if this guy's even hurt. We can see a guy on the ground. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But you guys are standing around with weapons. Not gonna happen. Cops got to come and secure the area. One story I heard, they ended up running away, and then the EMTs came out. And turns out the guy was hurt. And they saved his life. But these kids, man, they seem to think that they can slam and smear the police because they've seen YouTube videos, because they've seen Facebook videos. And now they think all the cops are bad, so they lock them out. They not once did they stop to think about what these people think. F your corrupt system. They refuse to help. Bro, they refuse to help because 2 people just got shot and you have locked down the area. It is lawless. There have been reports of extortion, of women being assaulted in their tents, and you think these guys are going to come out without protection? You are insane. They see these Facebook videos. Mind you, there are a lot of news stories about bad cops. And I say it, we can talk about it all the time. Yeah, we got to deal with this, man. But to act like the whole system is broken is insane. These people are insane. They're addicted to social media. They watch insane things, believe insane things, and then guess what? Time to grow up, children. Because this is what really happens. Yeah, your bro bled out for 30 minutes because you guys took guns, surrounded this area, and told the police to get out, and people don't want to be there. You were playing a game. You thought it was real life. I'll tell you about real life, man. Why don't you go spend some time in another country where the cops are all corrupt, where when you call for help, they say no, or they say, how much you going to give me? Or they pull you over and lie. Go to one of these countries where you get militarized police storming poor neighborhoods, randomly grabbing and arresting people, and they never come back. Go to Chicago. Man, I'll tell you what. I've got friends that preach all this progressive stuff. And I'll talk to them on Facebook. And we'll have a discussion. I'm not a debater. It's not really what I do. But we'll have a discussion. And it always ends at one point. When they talk about police brutality and all this stuff, I say, okay, tell you what. How about I fly down to Chicago, and you and me, we'll go take a walk down my old neighborhood. Gone. They just don't respond. You know why? Because they want a virtue signal, but they know how bad these neighborhoods can actually get. And they know what it would be like if they went to an area with high crime and no cops. So they don't want to come down to where I grew up, see what I saw. It's changed, to be honest. The area I grew up in is very gentrified. I shouldn't say very gentrified, but it's changed for sure. And it may have something to do with the city going and raising low-income housing. It's gone. This happened like 9 years ago, I guess. I had no idea. I left a long time ago, man, for obvious reasons. It's not a pretty place to be. And all these rich suburbanite kids who play these games, who go down to these protests, who talk all big and say, it's time for justice, to say, okay, I'll tell you what, let me give you a lesson in racism. Why don't you come down with me to where I grew up and we'll talk to some people. Boom, gone. They don't want to do it. They want to keep playing their little games. They want to pretend like they're heroes, but they're not. Look, man, there's real activism that needs to get done. There's real things that need to be changed in this country. But this video right here, I'll just say it triggered me in so many ways. You know why? I mentioned the conflict and crisis thing. The reason I brought that up is that I have been in so many circumstances with active gunfire. And what do you see? People don't respect. They don't respect the danger of this world. They think everything is candy canes and rainbows. It's all for fun until the bullets start flying. And then we see that video from Atlanta. A woman gets shot in the leg. Guess what? Another guy got shot just the other day. Now we're hearing stories. NPR. Let's do it. NPR. Vehicle attacks are on the rise. No, man. Regular people are just not letting you play games anymore. Look, I brought it up too many times, but I got to do it. The guys down in South Philly. Far left wanted to show up and smash a Christopher Columbus statue. Locals weren't having it. They showed up and said, no. The reason I bring up the conflict thing, I've been sent out to conflict. Ferguson, for instance, civil unrest, active gunfire, and a lot of it. And I can't tell you how many times those guns would start. You start hearing those gunshots. And what do I see? These journalists standing around like morons with their thumbs up their bums. And I'm on the ground. And so is everyone else who lives there. Maybe it's because of, where you grow up. You learn how to act. And I say respect because it's not about liking. It's not about thinking it's a good thing. It's about recognizing the power you don't have. When you go into these situations and you say, nah, we're going to get rid of all the cops. Yeah. Like that was a lot of fun. Like man, I tell you what, these people, they get me really angry. In Ferguson, I love this story. Are those fireworks? Do you see anybody with fireworks walking around? No. Do you see anybody with guns walking around? Yeah. Why would you assume it was fireworks? And then what happens in the Atlanta video? I don't know if you saw the live stream. You got these people walking by the Wendy's. You hear gunshots go off and nobody does anything. And this woman's just standing there in the middle of the street. Now I'll give her some respect because she took it like a champ. She screams and then she goes down and then she's not freaking out or anything. So that's impressive. It is. She got shot. Come on, man. But the ignorance. Now look at this. Vehicle attacks rise as extremists target protesters. It's absolutely not true. The clip you see is just protesters in the street doing their thing like you normally see. They block the streets. They complain. They say, you can't go. They don't realize, man. 1993, I think it was, LA riots. That man who got pulled out of his truck and beaten and stomped, and he's lying on the ground covered in blood. That guy was lucky to survive. My understanding is he survived. So what do you think happens when in New York City, one of these dumb kids chucks a Molotov at a police vehicle with people inside of it? You think the cops are going to sit around and wait to find out whether or not you're the same as them? These people don't understand what's actually going on in a conflict. When I go down and cover conflict and crisis, when I used to, you don't stand with the protesters. You don't stand with the police. Basic training, okay? In this stuff, you got to find an area perpendicular to the firing line. You know why? You stand with the protesters, get shot with riot weapons. You stand with the cops, get hit with a bottle. All right. If you want to be safe, you got to recognize and you got to respect the danger of the situation and what that means, no matter where you are. But these people, man, they don't get it. They think that they can show up to these protests, block the road, and they don't realize that they become the same as the other circumstances, right? They don't understand that when a protest is happening and one bottle goes flying, the police aren't going to be like, I wonder who threw that bottle. Everyone else must be okay. No, they're going, people are throwing bottles. We don't know who it is. Protect yourselves. These protesters seem to think, if one person throws a rock, I'm okay. No. It's a group of people. When you enter that group of people, no matter what you are, journalist or otherwise, you are a part of that group. That doesn't mean you should be held criminally responsible or anything, but it means if you gather the group of people and you block the street, you take over a part of Seattle, no one's going to think you didn't do anything. They're going to say, you're part of the avalanche, man. So when the cops see a couple bottles go flying, all they know is the crowd has gone too far. And yeah, it's unfortunate that one person can set that off, and they do. They take advantage of this. I've seen it. You get these Antifa types wearing all black. They'll go into the middle of a peaceful protest. They'll crouch down. They'll throw a rock. The cops, what are they supposed to do? Well, this crowd just threw a rock, but I'm sure most of the people here are not the ones who want to hurt us. Take a look at what's going on with these vehicles now. These kids are getting a cold wake-up call. Somebody's in their car. You surround their car, banging on it, yelling. We've seen the videos, man. They start punching people. They flip the vehicle. They torch it. It doesn't matter if you think you're right or not. It matters if the person is scared and they're driving a car and they will hit you. So then what does the media do? No, they love it. The media loves doing this. Extremists target protesters. Shut up, man. This is insane. The media is, you know what? I think the meme is fair. They say, ban the media and watch all these problems just go away. And they're right. The Democrats wouldn't need to grandstand so often because they would just maintain their power. The crazy people, the media wouldn't be, well, the media does this to get clicks, so they'd be gone. And the activists wouldn't see the rapid radicalization through the media, and they'd probably just chill out. Things are moving at such a rapid speed because of the rate at which we absorb information and the incentives of the entire internet communications ecosystem. It encourages people to be the most extreme possible. And when these media companies are going to ban conservatives, you end up with only a few moderate conservatives, but when they don't ban the left, you get all the leftist extremists. So now NPR can write extremist content. Let's be real. Vehicle tax rise as extremists target protesters. This is going to shock the left, convince them they're at war, and that the right, the counter-protesters, are all evil, and it's just not true. The reality is vehicle tax are not on the rise, man. I mean, maybe. But what I mean to say is a lot of these things they're showing are just regular people trying to mind their own business. These aren't political people. There was one video from Portland. Check this out. Portland downtown protests end with officers firing munitions. Apparent foam tip projectile shot to the back of a person's head. Not nice. A few days ago, there was a video from Portland, and there was a bunch of protesters in the street, and a car drove past them and pushed them out of the way, and everyone's screaming, and they're like, oh, they're freaking out, acting like it's, like it's an actual attack against them, when really it's just some random dude trying to drive. The dude pulls over, gets out of his car, and yells something. Man, this guy clearly isn't politically active. It's just a regular guy in a car. He's probably trying to go to the club and get a drink with some girls or something. But these people, they believe. They see everything through the lens of the culture war. They don't realize they're regular people. Now, it's fair if you want to criticize me for something similar. Somebody recently posted that I have a confirmation bias. I talk about civil war, and because I believe it's going to happen, everything I see plays into that. I don't think that's, I don't agree. I don't think it's fair. The reason for it is that I didn't make it up. And I've said this before, but bear with me. I didn't one day say, there will be a civil war. No, I saw an article from a major mainstream publication, I think it was New York Mag, saying we're dangerously close to civil war. And I said, wow, that's crazy. Check this out. They're saying civil war. I then see, Bill Maher, Dave Chappelle, and many other high-profile personalities say the same thing. It's not me coming out and saying it's going to happen. It's a cultural issue from high-profile individuals. Now, of course, I contribute to it when I bring it up and talk about my opinions. That's fair. Criticize me 100%. But I think we're on the precipice, man. Bill Barr just fired the Southern District of New York U.S. attorney. They're accusing him of trying to, there's another investigation being launched from the highest levels. It's happening. I'm not here to talk about all that stuff, though. I'm here to talk about the protesters and the hard lessons they're learning. And what I'm trying to get at is that these people, everything they see contributes to their view that they are under attack. And NPR writes it up. The police are not hunting you down. The police are coming out because protesters just ransacked a bunch of buildings over the past few weeks, and the protests haven't stopped. They say they're targeting us. They don't know. They're suppressing our speech. They don't like us. They're racist. No, they're just cops following protocol. You can criticize that. I think that's fair. We can talk about reform. That's fair too. But then you look at the car thing, and that's the perfect storm. Some regular people are driving home from work. They get stopped by a bunch of protesters. They honk. They have no idea what it is. And so they idle. They just, creep at like a mile an hour and slowly move through the crowd. The crowd starts banging on the doors, shattering glass and the windows. So what do the people in the car do? They freak out and they hit the gas and boom, people go flying. What does the media write? Right-wing extremists plows through crowds. Because everything they see is from that perspective. Not realizing most people just don't know. Don't know or don't care. There's the cold wake-up call for these people, man. So I grew up in a household with the fire. My dad was a firefighter. And I want you to think about something for a second, Raz, and the people at the CHAZ. When you're mad that these people won't come into your occupation, whatever you want to call it, these guys probably got kids. There's probably people who depend on them more than you do. So these guys are sitting in their truck and they make a choice. I want to save lives. That's why I do this job, right? That's what they're thinking. But guess what? First of all, these people aren't going to take unnecessary risks. If they can't get in safely to help, why would they bother? When the cops showed up, protesters blocked them. And then people started yelling, they're gone, the guys are gone already. All right. Well, if you're not going to let the cops in, these guys were right. More importantly, I'll tell you what. You place an injured man lying on that ground, and then you place this guy, this EMT, you place his son 20 feet in the other direction in a chaotic situation. I can guarantee you which way that man's going to run. To the dying man, you'd be insane. They're going to run to their kid, obviously. I mean, you got to protect, you got to put your own face mask on before you put the mask on of somebody else. And that's predictable. So I'll tell you what you can see here. First of all, these guys don't want to get hurt. They don't know what you're doing, why you're doing it. All they know is the cops were kicked out and you got guys walking around with guns and 2 people just got shot. What sane person would walk into that? But they also know there's a danger. Even if they think they can get in there safely and help this guy, they're thinking about, what if I do get hurt? Will I be able to go home to my kids and make sure they have someone to take care of them? No? Well, then they're not going to come out and help you. I'm sorry, man. It's just the way it is. Maybe this should be some, I like to imagine things like this will be a smack in the face to these people, figuratively, to realize the importance of police. Police are accountable, period. Do bad cops get away with things? Yes. Are there a lot of bad cops? There's a lot of bad cops. Are most of them bad? No, obviously not. Many of them just go by the book. Do we have problems with police training and procedure? I definitely think so. But I don't think all cops are bad. I think some are bad. I think some don't care about the rules, and it's particularly in big cities. But I also think that if a cop does something wrong, guess what? They get arrested. Look at the guy in Minneapolis. That guy's arrested. Look at the guy in Atlanta. That guy didn't even do anything wrong. And he's potentially facing death row. These people don't get it. There are a lot of circumstances where cops aren't held accountable. I would agree with that statement. But do you think gangs are accountable? They're not. I know. And again, maybe it's because I grew up in Chicago. But when a gang does something, what do? They won't give anybody up. They're not going to say anything. There's no accountability. It's a too bad. When the cops do it, hey, look, when the cops get away with it, at least they have to try to get away with it. You know what that means? It means the system is designed to try and stop them from doing it. That's why I think reform makes sense. The cops can't just go out and kill somebody. They can't. They can do what most people do, premeditated murder, and get away with it, but anybody could do that. When the police in their official duties do something wrong, there is an inquiry, there is outrage, there are protests, there is some accountability. And sometimes it's not perfect. But in your jurisdiction, there's none. There's no accountability. There was a video apparently where CHAZ was trying to stop somebody accused of theft. And he told, some other guy started beating the crap out of the dude who was accused. And CHAZ was trying to stop him. And the guy wouldn't listen. If it was a cop who did that, you filmed it, guess what? The cop would get in trouble, get a write-up, get fired, get arrested, whatever. The cop in New York who pushed that woman, I don't know if you saw that video, he got in trouble. Do you think if a gang pushed someone on camera, anyone would do anything about it? Cops might try and find the guy. Probably not, because you got shoved. Now, what if you replace the police with your own community group? You think anybody will be held accountable? No. And then, when you do that and you disband the police, do you think the emergency services will show up? So there it is, man. Your little experiment, as far as I'm concerned, has failed. I think a lot of people overhype what the CHOP is. It's fun. It's hippie dancing. They're growing flowers. They're racially segregating their gardens. There's a lot of problems with it. It's a bit more extreme than Occupy Wall Street. I wouldn't call it a block party or summer of love, but I would say the most of it is very obviously a bunch of dumb hippies doing dumb hippie stuff. But you get lawlessness when you kick the police out. Occupy was surrounded by cops, man. Occupy Wall Street was surrounded by cops, and there were still crimes committed in that park. Now, what do you think is going to happen when you do this? That's the problem the mayor and the governor ignored. They said it's a summer of love. It's going to be a big old festival. A big old festival where these guys know no cops are there. Now's your chance. So apparently some guys came and took it. This is what you're going to get when you disband the police. You're going to be like, why won't our social workers come into these places? Think about it. You get a phone call for your social worker because, some guy's sick. Some guy's acting crazy. Social worker pulls up, says, nah, I'm not getting out of my car right here. Sorry, bye, leaves. So guess what's going to happen? Yeah, you'll call your social worker, and then the police will have to come to assist to secure the area. Otherwise, you're going to be like, we got rid of the cops. There's no cops on patrol. Cops can't come in here unless they respond specifically. Someone's going to call 911, say my friend is injured, and they're going to be like, we're on our way. They're going to pull up and be like, nope, not getting out. They don't get it, man. They really, really don't. I'd like to think this is a wake-up call. And you can say it is to an extent, but will they learn from it? Probably not. They're still blaming the medics, refusing to understand why they wouldn't get out of their vehicle. Welcome to the real world, friends. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at timcast.net. Check it out, and I will see you all then.